Recall training. For this, you'll need a dog and some of your dog's favourite food. Part 1. Teaching the dog to follow the food that's in your hand. Notice how I'm using a clicker to mark the exact moment I've released the food. You can also use a verbal marker like the word good. Part 2. Adding a sit into your recall. Notice how the dog follows the food in my hand. When I stop, my hand moves up and this cues the dog to sit. Part 3. Adding a collar or harness touch. Notice how my hand takes the collar from underneath the dog and I reward as I hold the collar. Part 4. Adding the verbal cue. It's important to add the word before you give the dog any visual cue. This is because we want the dog to eventually respond to the verbal cue without needing the visual cue as well. Part 5. Adding distance. Again, watch how the verbal cue is given before any movement from my body. Part 6.
1, 2, 3, go!
In this section, we are proofing the verbal cue. Notice how we've changed the reinforcer to a game of tug instead of food. The reason for this is Prince prefers tug over food. If we started using this reward in the beginning, it may have got the dog too excited, making it difficult to get the correct form. Adding fun. For this, we're using our movement as well as the food reward on the ground to encourage our dog to come back to us when they hear the verbal cue. By placing the food on the ground, it will engage the dog's nose, giving us time to move away from the dog. Before adding in this game, it's better to train steps 1 to 5, making sure your dog can respond to each part before moving on to the next one.